Welcome to Rocco's Deli. What can I serve up for you?
Listen, buddy, keep quiet and put all the money in the bag.
Oh, buddy, I don't think you want to do what you're about to do.
Shut up and put the cash in the bag.
All right, your funeral. My goons love to play. Come on now, boys.
Listen, buddy, I didn't want any trouble. I didn't mean for it to get...
Oh, yeah, you didn't want any trouble. How's about you come back here and make me a sandwich?
What?
How's about you take your two little feet and your little tushy and walk back here and make me a pastrami and rye? Come on.
Okay.
Hey, thanks, pal. You mind throwing one of my goons a +1/+1 counter? He's real self-conscious about his size.
Sure. Here you go.
Hey, there we go. Now get the fuck out of my deli, you son of a bitch.
Hello, my name's Nick. I regret shaving my head, and this is my Rocco Street Chef deck. Just gonna pop that back on there. This is my Rocco Street Chef Rattlesnake deck, and if you don't know what a rattlesnake deck is, you're not watching my videos clearly, because we just made a video talking about rattlesnakes, baby. So if you want to watch that, come back to this video. Sounds good with me. But if you don't want to do that, I'll give you a quick little sum up, alright? Rattlesnake cards are cards that make it difficult for your opponent to swing at you. These could be pillow fort cards like Ghostly Prison. These could be reach death touchers like Deadly Recluse. This could be token generators like Bitter Blossom. Anything that makes attacking you difficult is a rattlesnake card. Don't mind my eyes, I nearly choked to death off camera. So, what does Rocco do, and how do we plug that into a rattlesnake deck? And what does a rattlesnake deck even imply? Well, we'll get into all that in the video, but let's jump into what Rocco Street Chef does first and foremost. For a red, a green, and a white, we get a 2/4. At the beginning of our end step, every player exiles the top card of their deck, and they may play that card until your next end step. I know what you're saying. This sounds more like group hug. This sounds more like, hey, you're going to be helping people out. Wouldn't you know it? Politics and doing things for your opponents are a great way for them to not swing at you. So Rocco's ability actually plugs into the whole rattlesnake theme. Very, very good. But that's not all he does. Whenever any player plays a land or cast a spell from exile, we get a food token, and we get to put a 1/1 counter on a creature we control. So while we're sitting behind this huge rattlesnake board state, our commander's going to be pumping up our creatures passively, spitting out food tokens for us to interact with, and causing us ourselves to exile and get impulse draw at the beginning of each of our end steps. That seems like a lot of value. And with the 1/1 counters, he's got a built-in way to win the game, because he can just get our tokens or our rattlesnake creatures huge. But there's also plenty of other ways to win. We'll get into that, by the way. But as you can see, Rocco plus Rattlesnake makes a perfect deck combination. I was thinking that Abzan, black, green, white would be the best combination for Rattlesnake. Then I came across Rocco and I was like, whoa, that might be the best Rattlesnake commander I've ever seen in my life. So I built the deck. Oh my god, this deck is strong. It is so fun. I'm probably going to pick it up in paper. I need to stop building decks that are so fun on Moxfield, because I'm going to blow all my money. So if you're wanting to serve some metaphorically edible whoop ass, then go ahead and like and subscribe, and let's jump into this Rocco deck, baby. So the first step of this deck is the Rattlesnake packages. So the different ways that we do not want to be attacked by people. The first, and honestly the most efficient way, is to play Ghostly Prison type effects that limit the amount of creatures opponents can swing with in the first place. So in this deck, we're running Baird, Steward of Argive, being a 2/2 white, 2/4 vigilance. Creatures can't attack you or planeswalkers you control unless its controller pays 1 for each of those creatures. Crawl Space makes it so no more than 2 creatures can attack each combat. Ghostly Prison makes opponents pay 2 per creature attacking us. Nil's Disciple Enforcer is 2 and a white for a 2/2. At the beginning of your end step, for each player, put a 1/1 counter on target creature that player controls. Each creature with 1 or more counters on it can attack you unless its controller pays X for each counter on it. Norn's Anex is 3 and 2 Phyrexian white for an artifact. Creatures can't attack you or planeswalkers you control unless their controller pays 1 Phyrexian white for each of those creatures. And Windborn Muse, finally, being 3 and a white. It's just a Ghostly Prison stapled onto a 2/3 flying. We can't go wrong there. So much like you and your boys talking about the girl next door that y'all want to get with, these cards really do make our opponents ask the question, are we actually going to hit that? Are we seriously ever going to actually try to hit that, or is there really just no point? We're just going to do other stuff. And then while they're doing other stuff, our commander makes our creatures get huge. I get big, I get fat. But oh no, that is not the only way we deter opponents from swinging at us. No, we also run Death Touchers, because this deck's got green, baby. Of course we run Deadly Recluse, being a 1 and a green, 1/2 reach Death Touch. Dragon Sniper, ooh baby, 1 green for a 1/1 vigilance reach Death Touch. Sign me up in this deck. Fang of Shigeki, 1 green, 1/1 death touch? Sure. Hornet's Nest, a 2 and a green 0/2 that just spits out a shit ton of 1/1 flying death touches when it takes damage. Probably not gonna want to swing into that. Nightshade Dryad and Poison Dart Frog. A couple of death touchers built into mana dorks? Sure. Skullwinder can go ahead and get you back a card from your graveyard to your hand, but it's also a 1/3 death touch, so yeah, we'll take it. Thorn-Wheeled Archer, again, another Deadly Recluse. 1 and a green, 2/1, reach, death touch, we take it. And finally, Tower Winder. Who was gonna tell me about Tower Winder? Was it you? Were you the one hiding this from me? 1 and a green, 1/1, reach, death touch. When it enters the battlefield, search your library and or graveyard for a card named Command Tower and put it in your hand. What? I got a Deadly Recluse that tutors up a Command Tower and y'all didn't tell me about it? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I knew about this card. I knew about this card. I'm supposed to know about all cards, right? Yeah, I knew about this card. And you might say, Nick, wow, you're so cool. There's so many different ways to not take, shh, pretty mama. I got more. Token engines are another fantastic way to deter opponents from swinging at us. If we got something that's consistently just pumping out tokens, our board's gonna get filled with tokens pretty quickly, and chump blockers are probably one of the best ways to prevent someone from attacking you in the first place. So, token engines. Let's get it. Of course, we got my guy Awakening Zone in here. 2 and a green enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you get a 0/1 Eldrazi spawn. You can sack for mana. Sure. Court of Embereth is a token engine that doubles as a win con. For 2 and 2 red, we get an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, we become the Monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a 3/1 red Knight creature token. Then if you're the Monarch, Court of Embereth deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of creatures we control. Wait, and when we run like 46 creatures in this deck, token engines, and our whole deck is just a creature-themed deck? Yeah. Bye, dude. Of course, we've got Court of Grace in here as well, being 2 and 2 white enchantment. When it enters, you become the Monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 Spirit with flying, but if you're the Monarch, you get a 4/4 Angel with flying. Griffinary is a match made in heaven for this deck, being 1 and a white for an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained 3 or more life this turn, create a 2/2 white Griffin. Oh, and would you look at that, our commander makes food tokens, which you can crack to gain 3 life. Making Griffinary perfect. Same goes for Gwahir, being 4 and a white 5/5 flying. Target attacking creature you control gains flying until end of turn. At the beginning of each end step, if you gained 3 or more life that turn, you get a 3/3 white bird creature token with flying, with whenever this creature attacks, target attacking creature gains flying. Yeah, just a Griffinary on steroids. How about Luminarch Ascension? If you don't take damage, it gets a counter, and then once it's at 4 or more quest counters, you can start paying 1 and a white to make 4/4 angels. And this whole deck is about not being swung at, so that's probably gonna pop off. As will the Book of Exalted Deeds. 3 white for a legendary artifact. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained 3 or more life, you get a 3/3 angel with flying. We talked about this, old man! You can also pay 3 white, tap it, exile the Book of Exalted Deeds, put an enlightened counter on target angel, it gains, you can't lose the game, and your opponents can't win the game. Activate only as a sorcery. And then finally, Windcrag Siege, being a 1, a red, and a white for an enchantment. You can choose Jeskai or Mardu when it comes out. If you chose Mardu, if a creature attacking causes a triggered ability to trigger, it triggers again. We don't really care about that one. We are going to be picking Jeskai. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. It gains lifelink and haste until end of turn. Trust me, I understand what you're going to say, because you guys always say it, all right? You guys always be saying this, all right? Outside of the huge birds, the huge griffins, the 1/1 counters our commander's going to be giving all of our stuff, the fact that we're never going to be taking damage and we're going to be able to build up these huge token board states, how are we supposed to win? Well, other than that stuff, we do run some win cons. All will be one is disgusting in this deck. 3 and 2 red enchantment. Whenever you put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, this enchantment deals that much damage to target opponent, creature an opponent controls, or planeswalker an opponent controls. So yeah, every time someone plays something from exile, our commander gets a 1/1 counter on a creature we control. All will be 1 ping somebody. That's going to be happening a lot. How about Finn the Fangbearer to give all of our death touch creatures the ability to poison our opponents for 2 when they connect? Yeah, I think I like that a lot. Hardened Scales and Lizelle Valkith's Champion are both going to just be adding additional 1/1 counters whenever a player plays something from exile, thanks to our commander. Nelfeshni lets us copy anything we cast from exile, which, yeah, our commander lets us exile the top card and cast as well, so Nelfeshni is going to be disgusting. As will Passionate Archaeologist, because every time we cast something out of exile, it does damage equal to its CMC to an opponent. Yikes. Rosy Cotton is actually insane because every time we make a food token with our commander, we get to dish out another 1/1 counter. So essentially, Rosy Cotton is just like another commander in this deck. Very, very good. And finally, Wild Magic Sorcerer, giving everything we cast from exile Cascade. That's going to be a pretty good value engine to get us ahead of our opponents. But we still ain't done, all right? Because at its heart, this is a Rattlesnake deck. And as I said, this deck runs, let me make sure I'm getting this number right because it's some crazy number. 46 creatures. I actually am going to talk about my card draw, mana ramp, and removal in this video because almost all of it is made up of creatures, and I think that's important for this deck and how it runs. And there's some actual bangers in these that I think you guys should know about if you want to build this deck. So let's get into that. As far as card draw is concerned, we're starting off with an absolute banger for this deck. Bree of Clan Stoutarm, being 2, a red and a white, 4/4, pay 1 and a white, tap it. Another target creature you control gains flying and lifelink until end of turn, which when paired with our commander's 1/1 counters could just be a win con in and of itself. But she also has, at the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this turn, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost if its mana value is equal to or less than the amount of life you gained this turn. Our commander makes food tokens. This is insane. You sack 2 food tokens and you just get to reveal until you hit something and you're like, oh, it costs 6 or less and I get to play it for free? Okay. Dusk Legion Duelist lets us draw a card whenever a 1/1 counter is put on it, which when paired with our commander is disgusting. Elvish Visionary just enters and Elvish Visionary is a good old enter, draw us a card. Hylia, Guided by Light, lets us draw a card at our end step if we gained 3 or more life that turn. Again, food token. Lorana, the Third Path, is good removal, plus you can tap it to have you and an opponent draw a card. Spirited Companion, ETBs, draws you a card. Tataru Taro is 1 and a white for a 0/3. When it enters, you draw a card and target opponent may draw a card. Whenever an opponent draws a card, if it isn't that player's turn, create a tapped treasure token. Yeah, it's very, very good. The Gaffer lets us draw a card if we gain 3 or more life. Again, food tokens. Wall of Blossoms and Wall of Omens are both 0/4s that enter and draw us a card. Plus, make amazing blockers. Any of these make amazing blockers. If you just have creatures in play, your opponents are less likely to attack you. That is the whole idea of this deck. So making all of your card draw, removal, mana ramp creatures just makes sense. So let's move on to the mana ramp in this deck. As far as mana ramp is concerned, we run Academy Manufacturer because every time our commander makes us a food token, we will also get a clue and a treasure instead. We run Birds of Paradise, of course. Bloom Tender to go ahead and add a mana for each color of permanents we have in play. Delighted Halfling is just amazing. You really don't have to talk about why this is good. Make our commander uncounterable? Sure. Enduring Vitality gives all of our creatures the ability to be mana dorks. When you have token engines, this card is absolutely busted. Fabro Elder, much like Bloom Tender, lets us tap for each of our permanent colors. Kami of Whispered Hopes taps for mana where X is its power, but it also lets you add an additional 1/1 counter to stuff when it gets a counter. So actually, this could go into the win con package as well. Ornithopter of Paradise is just a good old flyer that taps for mana. Sanctum Weaver taps for mana equal to the number of enchantments you control. Selvala, Heart of the Wilds, taps for mana equal to the largest power of a creature you control. It also lets you draw cards if you control the highest power. And Sylvan Caryatid has Hexproof Defender. It's a 0/3 and it taps for any color. Any of these make fantastic deterrents. And also, just like mana ramp's going to be important because you're going to be slinging a bunch of cards from exile. You want to be able to sack your treasure tokens, cast spells for turn. So, mana ramp, good. Creature mana ramp, even better. Now, as far as removal is concerned, we run Bane of Progress, being a 4 and 2 green 2/2. When this creature enters, destroy all artifacts and enchantments and put a 1/1 counter on it for each creature destroyed, for each permanent destroyed this way. Yeah, they're not going to want to swing into that giant mess. Canker Bloom is a 2-drop 3/2 that we can sack to destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or proliferate, which is a great time to bring up these removal effects. Removal effects that sit in play and threaten to do something can sometimes be more efficient than a straight up removal effect. So with a card like Canker Bloom, let's say one of your opponents has a Steel Hellkite, okay? And they keep swinging at other people, but they won't swing at you. That's because you have Canker Bloom in play. If they swing at you, that just gives you a reason to sack Canker Bloom and blow up their Steel Hellkite. So sometimes removal that sits in play can genuinely prevent you from being swung at. So that's why cards like Canker Bloom and why cards like Dispeller's Capsule are in here. Dispeller's Capsule being a 1 white artifact that you can pay 2 and a white, tap it, sack it, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Same idea. Same idea goes for Insidious Fungus. 1 green, 1/2, pay 2, sack it, destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or draw a card, then put a land from your hand into play tapped. We talked about Loran. Manglehorn causes your opponent's artifacts to enter tapped, and when it enters, you get to destroy an artifact. Rex Sage enters and destroys an artifact or an enchantment. Soul Snare is another one of those removals that threatens removal, being a 1 white enchantment. You can pay 1 white to sacrifice it, exile a creature that's attacking you. Again, people might straight up not swing at you with their whole board because they know you'll just Soul Snare something. Thrashing Brontodon? Oh, don't drop that Dontodon. That Thrashing Brontodon. 1 and 2 green for a 3/4. Pay 1. Sacrifice Thrashing Brontodon. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Sure. And then we got Witch Enchanter, which is just a plains, but on the backside it's a Rex Sage for 3 and a white. So I don't think you can go too bad there. I've been absolutely enjoying this deck. I've been goldfishing the crap out of this deck, playing it against some of the community, and I have been absolutely enjoying the hell out of it. So, highly recommend you pick this one up. The price on it is a little bit steep, so I think you could probably adjust the mana base for it to be a little bit more budget. As it stands, it's 240 bucks on TCG Player. But a lot of these cards aren't that expensive outside of like the $10, $15, $20 lands that are in here. So I think you could easily get this down to like 100 bucks. But if you run a Rocco deck and I forgot anything, let me know down in the comments. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We're trying to hit 20K subscribers. We can do that easily. If you want to show some support, you can head over to nixlotus.com and check out all the stuff we got going on over there. We got some merch. We got a Scryfall tool. We got viewer submitted decks. There's tons of cool stuff. I don't know. I don't want to toot my own horn or anything. And if you want to show some extra support, you could become a YouTube or Patreon member for as low as $1 a month, where you can gain access to the deck submission forum where you can submit your decks. I will review them on Friday night live stream. So if that sounds interesting, a little bit of an incentive there. Huge shout out to all the names you can see on screen, and consider clicking that video you see on screen because YouTube thinks you might like it. Anyway, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.